This is ABC 15 Arizona at 4.
Policing Phoenix. After years of waiting, the Department of Justice report is here.
The findings that we have issued are severe.
A list of widespread issues identified within Phoenix PD, many first brought to light by ABC 15, from excessive force to racial discrimination.
They do harass the blacks a lot. They do.
Unlawful treatment of the homeless.
They ain't doing nothing but just making it worse for the homeless, really.
Violating free speech and much more. ABC 15 has team coverage on every angle, from the police department's response.
Is the DOJ wrong?
You know, Melissa, I have not read the report yet.
This investigation is a farce.
To the public.
I feel heard and seen.
We're also mapping out what's next and why this report isn't the end, but rather the beginning of a new chapter in policing Phoenix. So let's get right to our team coverage tonight on this big story gaining national attention. We're breaking down the report, looking ahead to what happens now, and hearing from top city leaders as well as the community directly impacted.
We begin our team coverage tonight with ABC 15 Mornings' Nick Soletti's live in studio right now. Nick.
Yeah, Katie, Javier, Dave Biskuping, and the rest of our ABC 15 investigators have been looking into these claims against Phoenix police for more than a decade, years before the Department of Justice ever got involved. But on August 5th, 2021, the DOJ did just that. 34 months, 147,000 documents, 22,000 videos from police body cameras, all leading up to one bombshell report. Our team here at ABC 15 has been going through all 126 pages of that DOJ report since it came out this morning, and it's leveling a number of serious allegations against a police force that's been under the federal microscope for nearly 3 years.
Ultimately, our findings reveal evidence showing long-standing dysfunction at the Phoenix Police Department. The problems at their core reflect a lack of effective supervision, training, and accountability,
which have led the Phoenix Police Department to where it is today, the subject of a stunning, wide-ranging report issued Thursday by the Department of Justice. The DOJ accusing Phoenix police of violating citizens' civil rights, destroying personal property, and violating the public's trust. The DOJ looking into 5 key areas. First up, questions about use of force, with investigators claiming Phoenix PD not only used excessive force, but also unjustified deadly force, with not enough oversight. And that wasn't the only area.
Police officers have an obligation to enforce the law fairly and equally, but in Phoenix, officers are disproportionately targeting communities of color,
which includes Black, Hispanic, and Native American residents across the city. For example, the DOJ says Black drivers were 144% more likely to be stopped for minor moving violations in Phoenix than white drivers. They also accuse Phoenix PD of simply ignoring the data. When it comes to how Phoenix police interact with people experiencing homelessness, the DOJ called their findings historic, accusing Phoenix police of not only over-policing the homeless community and violating their rights, but also seizing and destroying their property without enough notice. The DOJ also finding Phoenix police not only violate the rights of peaceful protesters, but also retaliate against people who speak out against the department. It's reporting our Dave Biskuping and the ABC 15 investigators uncovered with a challenge coin depicting a protester who was shot in the groin. When it comes to people experiencing a mental health crisis, the DOJ found Phoenix police and the city discriminate against people with behavioral health issues, even going as far as to say the department has violated the Americans with Disabilities Act. The DOJ did highlight areas where the Phoenix Police Department tried to make reforms, like updating their use of force policy and adding more de-escalation training. But DOJ investigators said it simply wasn't enough, adding it was apparent to them Phoenix police can't be trusted to police themselves.
An important task lies ahead, and we will persevere until we get the job done.
Nick, thank you. And as Nick said earlier, no other team has covered Phoenix police like the ABC 15 investigators. And Chief Investigator Dave Biscobing has been at the forefront of that coverage. He joins us now live. Dave, this review seems to be one of the harshest when it comes to systemic problems inside police departments, at least when we compare that to other departments all across the country.
Yeah, in recent years, we've seen these investigative reports come out on other cities like Louisville and Minneapolis, and I've read through those and others, and I've never seen a report quite like this one that Phoenix got. It is, just in one word, it is damning, and it shows from top to bottom, according to the DOJ, the Phoenix Police Department is indifferent to its problems, it's corrupt, and really it's incompetent, and it's just a stunning list of failures when you read through all of it. It's just really, really bad. In fact, I wanted to know how this compares, and I actually asked that question of the DOJ today during their announcement. On its face, this appears to be one of the more damning reports that your department has put together. Would you agree, based on the findings and the statements about there being very little oversight in many areas of this department?
The findings that we have issued are severe, and I will note that our finding with respect to the treatment of people who are homeless is historic. This is the first time that the Justice Department has issued a finding of this kind in a pattern and practice investigation. It's also only the second time that we have identified discrimination with respect to Native American people. But indeed, the findings are severe.
Now, as you can hear, I mean, obviously, this calling it very severe. Now, this report, while the contents are shocking, it's really not surprising. In fact, reading through it, it's very clear that a lot of this was built on our reporting. In fact, reading through the report, it's like reading an encyclopedia of our past stories. You know, I do want to say that sources throughout this process have said that the DOJ was very closely covering the scrutiny of Phoenix to see how they responded. And really, they really relied on people in the community and our reporting to drive their investigation. That's why this kind of coverage and these stories are so important, and why it was so important for people to speak out.
Yeah, and Dave, I want to talk about the protest cases specifically here, because there was grand jury testimony, there was other evidence that showed how officers had targeted groups who were protesting against them.
Yeah, you know, the protest, there's a whole section in this report about how they handled protest cases. It's something that we've investigated very deeply for years. And I think the protest case in the section and how they retaliate against people who criticize them, it really encapsulates and encompasses all of the problems facing Phoenix PD. It deals with excessive force, it deals with lying, it deals with being vindictive, and it really deals with the lack of oversight and accountability. I mean, we covered that challenge coin, as you heard about earlier in the newscast. This was a situation where they shot a protester in the groin, then they created a challenge coin to celebrate that police violence. That challenge coin had ties to hate speech. It was based on hate speech, and it was everywhere in the department. There were coins, t-shirts, hats, and the DOJ found that they tried to get rid of all of that evidence before anyone would find out. Then, of course, our report exposed all of it and made it very public, which put it on the DOJ's radar. There's another major case that is really highlighted when it comes to protesters, and it has to do with them inventing a fake gang to charge protesters as members. It was a wild, crazy scandal, and we got secret grand jury testimony and the transcripts that show they went in and they testified and compared this random group of protesters to organized groups and gangs like the Bloods, the Crips, and Hells Angels, which is an incredible lie, and that was also cited in the DOJ's report.
Yeah, your report helped to sort of connect the dots on all of that as well. Dave, what does this report say about the culture of the Phoenix Police Department?
Well, I mean, when it comes to the culture of the Phoenix Police Department, it's not only evident from this report, but it's through the decade or more of reporting that I've done and our team has done. The city and the police department, they won't act unless they're publicly embarrassed and publicly exposed. That's not an opinion, that is the facts. And really what it comes down to is that they won't change anything and they will not hold themselves accountable unless they are forced to do so. I want to show you, or read to you actually, some quotes directly from the DOJ today. And I think there's one right here that Kristen Clark said, and that she said, quote, "This is one instance where we can't count on the police to police themselves." That is a very damning statement. And, from our experience, it's true. In fact, I think we have a soundbite from the Assistant Attorney General about that exact line of issues.
The police department turned a blind eye to the data, ignored these unmistakable warnings, and failed to uncover its own discriminatory policing patterns.
So as you can see, there's going to be a lot of emphasis going forward on policing Phoenix. How will they respond to this? Well, they aren't signing any sort of agreement with the DOJ to work together, and that could lead to a very long, protracted legal battle with probably even some more investigation from the DOJ to help make their case.
Sounds like that. Wrapping up years of consequential reporting here, Dave. We appreciate this.
Inside Phoenix City Hall today, top city leaders told ABC 15 senior investigator Melissa Blasius do not expect any immediate changes based on the Department of Justice investigation conclusions. Melissa joins us live right now. And how was this report received, Melissa?
Well, the city manager does say the DOJ's conclusions cause concern and they are taking this issue seriously. But for now, the interim police chief is not making any immediate changes, sticking with a homegrown policing road to reform plan, even as the DOJ says this police department cannot be trusted to police itself. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Phoenix City Manager Jeff Barton and Interim Police Chief Michael Sullivan sitting down with ABC 15 just minutes after the Department of Justice released its findings report outlining years of civil rights violations in the city. Today, are you willing to say, yes, there have been constitutional violations?
I am not necessarily willing to say that today. I need to review this report, see what they're talking about. We, as you know, have had ongoing litigation to talk about some of these very events. And so that's where my position is today.
Barton says he's taking the DOJ's findings seriously, from unnecessary deadly force to retaliating against protesters to racial bias. Phoenix actually said there was no evidence of discrimination just months ago, but after using years of data, federal investigators found examples, like black drivers were 144% more likely to be cited or arrested for low-level moving violations.
As a black man, I do have, concerns with that. I'd be lying if I didn't say that, to you. But what I would tell you is I also, as a black man, I'm not going to stereotype with a broad brush my entire Phoenix Police Department because I know what it feels like to be stereotyped.
Do you think intentionally or unintentionally your officers have done harm over the last few years?
I think you can certainly pick out incidents where we should have performed at a much higher level and the community expected us to. But by and large, 99.9% of the time, the interactions, the thousands of interactions that we have on a regular basis, the Phoenix police officers perform to the level that I think residents expect.
In recent months, Phoenix City leaders pushed back against the DOJ, saying a high level of federal reform involvement was unnecessary. Is there a fundamental difference in the way the leaders of the city of Phoenix want to police the city versus what the DOJ considers constitutional policing?
I think we all want fair and equitable policing for our community. It's something that we're committed to. And I think it's something that DOJ wants as well. So I think we're aligned in, there's a lot of alignment between the Department of Justice and the city of Phoenix and where we want to go and how we figure out how we get there. That's going to be part of the process that's ongoing over the next several months.
For now, the DOJ's findings trigger no immediate changes, the city sticking with its existing training and reform plan created by Sullivan.
And there is trust in the community. There's areas that we have a lot of more work to do, and we're committed to that work.
I'm Senior Investigator Melissa Blasius, ABC 15, Arizona.
Melissa, thank you. And as you just heard there is right now a disconnect between the DOJ and the city of Phoenix about the next steps here. So what will happen next? ABC 15 investigator Jennifer Kovaleski digging into how this could play out if the city does not reach an agreement with the DOJ.
This is probably one of the most scathing reports. A civil rights attorney reacting to the findings of the DOJ's probe into Phoenix police and detailed in this 126-page report.
It is a wake-up call. It is a wake-up call to the residents of Phoenix who apparently have been suffering under unconstitutional policing, as well as the police department itself, and that it's time to right its ship.
Attorney Abante Pointer has spent nearly 2 decades representing victims of police misconduct. What are the next steps?
It's up to the city of Phoenix and the Department of Justice to somehow find a way to work together for the betterment of the community.
And those negotiations have already started. During Thursday's announcement, Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clark said DOJ officials are on the ground right now in Phoenix. But when asked if the DOJ would seek a court-ordered consent decree, Clark would only say this.
We do not have any announcement today, but a consent decree has been the vehicle that has helped to institute the reforms necessary to address the kind of serious violations set forth in this report today.
If the city doesn't agree to a consent decree, which is what most other cities have agreed to after DOJ findings of unconstitutional policing,
then the Department of Justice is going to be forced to bring its own lawsuit. That could be a long path. It could be a very costly path.
Phoenix outlined 3 scenarios that could play out in this community update in January. First is the court-ordered consent decree. That would force changes overseen by the court and an independent monitor. Second is a negotiated agreement that likely wouldn't involve the court.
But it really wouldn't have as much teeth as the federally monitored consent decree.
If both sides can't agree, then there's that third scenario where the DOJ can file a lawsuit against the city. A rare option. Pointer says he's never seen happen after findings of this magnitude.
Either way, there's going to be a price to pay. The question is, do you do it proactively or do you wait until the piper and the bill comes due by way of litigation?
I'm investigator Jennifer Kowaleski, ABC 15, Arizona.